Hello everybody and welcome to the combination colon and liver cleanse. We're going to be working with the herbs provided by the company blessedherbs.com, and what we get is toxin absorber, and this contains apple pectin, which is very nourishing for the gut, psyllium husk, which are like little brushes which sweep through the gut, cleansing away, and bentonite clay, which actually draws all the toxins out. And we're going to be adding to the toxin absorber the digestive stimulator, which is a very powerful combination of herbs in capsule form. And when you look at the user guide and the instruction manual and the dosage calendar, you find out that it all depends on how often you go to the toilet as to how many of these digestive stimulator capsules that you have. And the cleanse explains exactly when to have all these things. The toxin absorber itself is something that you have with apple juice, and you give it a thorough shaking when you drink it down, and you drink plenty of water afterwards. This is because the psyllium husks in the toxin absorber swell, and this is what enables you to do the cleanse for those 5 days without food, because your stomach feels full because of the psyllium husks have swollen. That's very good. But it's really important that you have plenty of water. If you didn't do that, then you might have problems with it starting to clog up. So, very important to follow all the instructions on the cleanse. So for the first couple of days at the beginning of the cleanse, what we do is we're cleaning off our dietary act up and eating really the best things, and we're slowly reducing the amount of food that we eat. And then we go into the 5 days with no food, just toxin absorber and apple juice and the digestive stimulator pills. And then afterwards we slowly start to increase our food from day 8 and day 9, day 10 up to normal amounts of food, and day 11 we do the liver cleanse. So this film is to explain all about it in detail, and then we'll give you our report at the end. So here we go, here's more information. Hello there, so now it's time to make our juice with the apples and the toxin absorber. So done a lot of work exploring different kind of apples and discovered that the really good ones that you can buy, this organic and local from the health food shops, are actually not suitable. And the best thing to do is to go to Tesco's or Sainsbury's and get organic Braeburns. And the reason for this is because they have the greatest amount of juice and the smallest amount of pulp, which is a lot less work for you, and the juice doesn't get clogged. So for a juice for the 2 people, we're going to use 4 apples, and I cut them into thirds, and I cut each third into thirds, and that's just the right shape to go into this matte stone juicer. So if you do this according to the strict regime, then you would only put apples in the juicer. Because I'm a person that naturally researches and experiments, I've been exploring using a little pineapple and a little pomegranate as well. And if you're going to do the liver cleanse afterwards, then cranberries, fresh cranberries, are really good. So there's the apples all done. I'm just going to switch the juicer on and juicing. So that's all done, and you'll notice that the juicer is not at all clogged. Huge amount of juice from those apples. And the thing about apples with regard to the colon cleanse and the liver cleanse is apples represent the foundation of the cleanse. And if you want to go into the reasons, it's because they embody the qualities of eternity and beauty, which are so important for rejuvenation, which is what we're doing by having a colon cleanse followed by a liver cleanse. So now it's time to actually prepare the drink, and it really couldn't be easier, because all I'm going to do is fill the jar about 2/3 full and tear off the packet, and the toxin absorber is a powder. Contains a bentonite clay, which is a toxin absorber, psyllium husks which brush through the digestive system to brush out all the toxins, and avopectin, which is a very powerful gut cleanser and healer. It's also what causes liver stones to soften. It softens everything and makes everything easy to be removed from the body. And you give it a really good shake, and we check to make sure there's no powder on the top and it's absolutely right for drinking, and we drink. So thank you very much. Well, the thing about doing with apples as good as the Brayburns, which are so juicy, it's absolutely delicious. So finally, around about 5 or 6, you're going to go to the toilet and you'll feel that urge, and this is what's going to come out. This is what it's going to look like. It's black. It really looks like plastic. That's the nearest description I can give to it. And it doesn't look anything like what normally comes out of your body. So this is how you know it's mucoid plaque. It just doesn't look like what normally comes when you go to the toilet. Very, very different. Now, in my particular case this time, I had a most peculiar thing happening, and I do feel this is a lot to do with the fact that I was working with the microdosing of the plant medicines as well. So, because we needed to take care of my partner's needs in her life, we needed to move at a critical point from my place to hers. And one of the first things I noticed, which really surprised me, all toilets are not the same height. Now that might sound a really silly and trivial thing to say, but when it comes to a cleanse, it's actually really crucial. Now, the lower down the toilet bowl, the more you sit in a natural squatting position, and the more easy it is to be able to actually let this stuff go. And what I found is her toilet was actually rather considerably taller than mine, the position of the bowl, and so it was actually really difficult. And then I had something else happen, which is I had a spontaneous emergence of a memory from being a child. And this is one of the unexpected things you can get in a cleanse, is at a certain point you can get a memory come up, and when these memories come up they can be of really quite unpleasant things, and that's the point. So if you get a really challenging memory come up, feel relieved and delighted, because this is part of the healing. This is you letting go of something you didn't even know existed. So there I was on my partner's toilet and it wasn't happening, and you can imagine the embarrassment I felt. But what I had to do is I had to go into her bedroom and ask her for a container. Now, a lot of us have got a huge number of issues when it comes to anything that comes out of our bodies. These are big taboo subjects. People feel really uncomfortable about them, and here I am showing you what's come out of my body, so it's quite funny, isn't it? So I had to ask her for something like a potty, and which is what children go to the toilet on when they're little tiny tots. And this brought up a load of feelings of shame and embarrassment, and finally she found the container for me to go, and now here you can see. So I got onto this container and finally managed to go, thank goodness for that. And so that's a small container I usually see, that's what it looked like, and there's a bit more of a detailed view of it. And this to me was a huge breakthrough, because what happened to me is I found myself in two places at exactly the same time. There I was, an adult, doing this colon cleanse, having this stuff coming out my body, feeling the washing over feelings of shame, having to ask my partner for a container because I couldn't go in a toilet, for goodness sake. And at the same time as all that was going on, I was 2 years old or younger, and I was sitting on this potty, and my mother was looking at me from a great height, because I'm a tiny child and she's a big adult, and she was radiating condemnation, judgment, irritation, because there I was suffering from like really acute constipation. And that's why I actually realised this difficulty in releasing in the cleanse was about a recapitulation of this memory from being a tiny kid. And the great thing about these things when they happen is it means you're no longer holding on to that memory. So although this was actually my 4th colon cleanse in the last 5 years, none of the other cleanses actually touched the depths of this ancient feeling of being really disempowered in front of a woman and overcome with shame. So by having this recapitulation and experiencing the situation being like in two places at once, there I was, an adult, and I was a tiny little kid as well, and feeling this radiating negative disapproval of my mum, and feeling all the shame. By doing that I was able to release it, and when I actually finally went into that container, it was gone. So I was really doing a massive healing, which I didn't expect. I wasn't just getting rid of this stuff from the body, I was getting rid of stored emotional negativity which I'd been carrying ever since I was 18 months, 2 years old. So there's a lot more to these cleansers than meets the eye. So it's Saturday evening and it's time to do the next stage of the liver cleanse. We've been drinking all this apple juice for all these days, 1 litre a day for all these days. This is day 11, so now what we're going to do is we're going to measure out in the book by Andreas Moritz. It says 4 tablespoons. Now I found out a tablespoon equals 14 grams, so what I'm going to do is weigh out 4 times 14 grams, that's 56 grams. So exactly 56 grams. How many ounces of water? 24 ounces of water. So we now have to do the math. So 32 ounces of water is a litre. So 8, 16, 24, 32, it's 3/4, so that's going to be 3/4 of a litre. So I want 750 millilitres in here. So I've just warmed up some water, a little bit beyond blood heat. I'm now going to add this, and stir it in to dissolve it. It actually dissolves very quickly, that's good. Put a bit more of that warm water in. Top up with cold water to 750 millilitres. And all these are amounts, the amounts that you would use for one person. So what we need to do is to put 750 through 190, we need 190 millilitres into each one of these glasses, then we can get started. So there we are, 190. So we're going to drink that, and then we're going to drink another load a little bit later, and then we're going to have the citrus olive oil drink. If we can. Hey. Cheers. So now we're ready for the second drink. We spent our time chatting and relaxing, and doing the be like a tree posture, and lying down flat. So it's now time for our second drink, 2 hours after the first one. So it's time for our second drink. Cheers. You drink it straight down in one go, about 200 millilitres, 190 to be exact. Now the taste is quite something. It's a good idea to have some bicarbonated soda in water, just to rinse them out with a few times, and you feel much better. And it's time to relax for another 1 and 3/4 until it's time to make the citrus oil drink. So it's time to prepare the final drink. This is the citrus with the olive oil. It does the magic of casting the stones out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to juice a couple of lemons and a couple of oranges for the 2 of us, and I'll use as many as I need to create 3/4 of a glass, which is this size here. It's going to be about 180 millilitres of juice. So I'm just going to get squeezing. So I've almost finished. It does say squeeze by hand, and I'm taking it literally rather than using a hand squeezer. And I'm finding it a really satisfying activity, just to bury the finger into the flesh, moving around like so, and then just rotate the hand in the flesh. So I've almost got 3/4 of a glass of juice for each of us now. What I will do with it after I've done this is I will just strain it through a sieve, get all the bits and the pips out. So each jar is going to have 3/4 of a glass of juice, and half a glass of olive oil, organic, cold pressed. So almost done. So the one on the right is orange and lemon juice, and the one on the left is that plus a little bit of pink grapefruit juice to make the same amount. So 3/4 of a glass of each. So what I'm now going to do is to add half a glass of olive oil to each one, and I'm going to give it a really thorough shake, and then the idea is to drink it steadily, slowly until it's all down. Go and lie down immediately, slightly over half a glass, so that will do. You lie down immediately after you've drunk this. Don't move, don't speak until you feel the call to go and empty your body into the toilet. So that'll be our next stage. So I've been lying down for a while now, relaxing and going deep within, and putting my awareness into my liver. And as soon as I put my awareness into my liver, I realized that it's a very beautiful, beautiful organ. And when I went deep into it, I was looking at the structure of the liver, like I'm inside it, surrounded by it. And there's all these shapes and these tubes, and it's all very bright and shiny. And that's because everything that we've been doing on the cleanse has been cleaning and nourishing the liver. We've done so many things to nourish the liver. The actual colon cleanse itself, we've added the pineapple juice, the cranberry juice and the pomegranate juice. All these nourish the liver, so it's looking very bright and vibrant. And then I saw myself going inside one of the tubes, and I could see the Epsom salts that we drank earlier, and I could see them like cartoon characters with these brushes, and they were just brushing the walls of the tubes in the liver. And then suddenly I could tune in, and I saw one of the stones, and it was green, the colour of the apple juice, colour of the lamp. And then I saw the spirits of the liver just brushing these stones along the tubes inside the liver, just brushing them along, moving them along. And I saw them just washing the tubes, lots of water as well, just cleaning everything off. And all these liver stones were travelling inexorably towards a huge basin, and the basin is the gallbladder. I just saw them all falling into this basin full of liquid, and there was a really big exit tube the other side, and that's called the bile duct, and all the stones were just being drawn into the bile duct and being washed down the bile duct by all the apple juice and all the water we've been drinking all these days. And we'll be having our second dose of Epsom salts soon, and then another couple of hours will go by and it'll be time for us to have our citrus and olive oil drink. And when we have that drink, we will need to lie down and not speak and not move until the call is to empty the bowels. And when that happens, that's when the stones will start to come out. So what's happening now is all the stones are moving towards this point of exit. And it's when you take the citrus oil drink that is the final medicine which knocks the stones out of the body and into the colon, out of the rectum, out through the bowel, and then that's when we get the stones coming out. Well, hello everyone, it's day 12 and it's very exciting. So we've done the complete colon and the complete liver cleanse, and the stones are coming out, and at any moment I may be called to move. And We had our last Epsom salts at 9 o'clock this morning, and now it's time for us to have our first apple juice, which having with a little bit of wheatgrass. So here goes the apple juice and wheatgrass. It's a funny thing because it seems like drank so much apple juice I might be fed up with it, but not a bit of it. So looking forward to this drink. So here we go. So there's a really big batch of apple juice and wheatgrass. Very much looking forward to this. So here's to some super nourishing green to complete our cleanse. Cheers, my dear. Nectar. Nectar. Right, well I am very, very excited because it's gone 9 o'clock the following morning and we have some results for you. So here we go. So when you look down the toilet bowl, you can see all those green things. Every single one of those green things is a liver stone, and look at them, they're absolutely loads. There's probably more than 100 there, absolutely masses of them. So in sheer joy and excitement, what I've done is I got my spoon and I went in there and I got this. Now just look at that, you can see my hand. You can see the size of that stone. That is huge, isn't it? That's really impressive. Just think, a few hours ago that was in the human body. Now the human body is free of all that weight. That's incredible. So this is why we do a liver cleanse. It is all worth it. Just imagine how much healthier and fitter and more energetic we're going to feel without those inside our bodies. So it's a short while since we've had our first apple juice following all the cleansing, and now we're just going to do a blood pressure.
The device is ready for use. You may start measuring.
I love this device. It's a really cool thing to be able to have access to a blood pressure measuring device. It's actually called a sphygmomanometer. And this digital machine measures your blood pressure and also the heart rate too. And so when it goes up to 190, that means it's fully inflated the cuff, and it just drops down slowly now until it reaches a certain point, and you can see the heart flashing, which is measuring the heart rate. So we'll get the heart rate as well in a little while. And this is going to be very interesting to see. Her blood pressure was actually optimal when it was measured during the cleanse and earlier on as well. Right, any time now we'll get the results.
Systolic pressure 93 millimeters of mercury. Diastolic pressure 53 millimeters of mercury. Heart rate 59 beats per minute. According to the WHO guidelines, your blood pressure is optimal.
And so it is. That's an absolutely outstandingly good result. In fact, the top and the bottom level, the systolic and the diastolic levels on the blood pressure are even slightly lower than they were last time. So they're absolutely ideal and even better optimal. And with a heart rate of 59, that's an athlete's heart rate, which is what we all aim to get. So it's so fascinating to see how this cleanse, which has been such an incredibly challenging journey for both of us, has actually put us into medically observable excellent health. So what we're doing now, we're just testing for the pH of the saliva and the urine to get an idea of how the body is in terms of acid and alkaline. all cleansers are tending to be an alkalizing experience, so I just thought we'd have a little look. And I've got a little chart there, and it comes out actually between 7 and 7.5. You can ignore the word too high. This is actually a growing chart for people who grow plants. So that's a very good result. Nice alkaline saliva. So then you get that magical moment, which could be the night after you've had the citrus olive oil drink, or it could be the following morning, or even early the following afternoon, depending on you. Finally, you go to the toilet and it's like an explosion, and it looks like that. Lots of bright green bits. That's what you're looking for. Those are actually liver stones. The apple juice has done the work to soften them and make them so easy to pass you didn't have any problems. There's a few little liver stones. You can see that's what they look like inside. And what you're going to see in a moment is what is so spectacular for my partner, because there is one of her stones. Now that is a substantial sized stone, because the apple juice had done its job and the Epsom salts to soften the bile ducts to make them easy to pass. That was painless, pretty much. And that gives you an idea of how big it is, because it's about the size of a pound coin. Pretty big when you think about it. So that is how spectacular a liver cleanse can end up. Now, to my great surprise, and at first I was a little bit disappointed about this, when I came to do my liver cleanse and I exploded in the toilet, that's what came out. Now, I won't bother you with the details. When I sifted through that and looked at it, all there was tiny little fragments. There were no stones. So what I really had was pretty much just gravel. In other words, they were so small that there wasn't anything to really look at, and that's because I've done these liver cleanses before. So it was finally the validation that the cleanses I've done in the past had actually done the job, and I don't need to do another liver cleanse. So if you're ever lucky enough to have something that comes out like that where you can't see anything substantial, and remember, it's the bright green is what you're looking for, the bright green colour. There it is again, back to the first image I showed you. That is what you want. That is showing you having stones coming out. But in my case, there were no stones to come out, just a tiny bit of gravel. So, very exciting journey. There you go, thank you.